Okay. So financing a car, there's two main components when it comes to a loan, principal and interest. So the principal is the money or amount borrowed. Okay. Loan amount. Sometimes we'll just talk about it's the original loan amount that you took out in the beginning. The interest is what we also call the cost of borrowing. It's also known as the finance charge. Okay. Vehicle loans typically take, and this is just a bit of a reference, 5 to 7 years. There are 8-year loans out there for brand new vehicles, but most of them are 5 to 7 years. Interest rates are anywhere between 3 to 7%. I will say that new is sometimes 0%, right? I honestly don't think that it is 0%. I think it's in the price. They make sure they make some money. So I find it a little bit deceiving, but on paper, they will say we don't charge you any interest. Okay. Now this might be, for some of you, this might look complicated. I'm trying to break it down so that you can understand and follow, because I want you to be smart buyers. I don't want you to just go into a car loan not knowing what's really going on in the background, okay? The smarter and the more you research, the better off you are when it comes to negotiating the price, okay? If you know a lot about the car, I'll tell you this. I know I've been to car dealerships where I knew more about the car than the actual person selling the car. I would ask questions. They'd be like, "Oh, what? It has does it have a 4x4? Does it have like a special feature?" And they wouldn't know because they're selling a bunch of different makes and models. You research that one car that you want to buy, right? So research, and then you will have more power when it's negotiating time. Interest paid is essentially the penalty, right? Interest is essentially the penalty for paying over time, right? That's what interest is, right? They gotta make money because they're gonna give you the money up front. You're gonna pay it back over time. So obviously they need to charge you something. It is also referred to as the finance charge. There's that word again, those two words, I mean. A lot of people do not care or think about interest paid as long as they can afford the payment. But the goal of this course is for you to be a smart consumer, right? Understanding how interest works. It's very important that you understand how it works. So, we'll do a case study here. Very simple. Let's assume we buy a car for 12 grand and we finance it over 12 months at an interest rate of 5%. Quickly, if it's $12,000 over 12 months, it's going to be at least $1,000 a month, correct? But it's not going to be exactly 1,000 because of interest. So this is where I have this fancy graphing calculator here, and I can just quickly use an app in here. You don't have to worry about this. I type in all the information, right? Interest, and it tells me that the payment will be this over 12 months. So let's write that down in this payment slot here. Okay, So my payment is that every month. I will put down here used app because later on we will find it in a different way. So just say I used an app or something. You can download it on your phone even if you wanted to. So what does this mean? Okay. That means that over 12 months, you pay 12 times 1,027.29, which ends up being 12,327.48. Okay. And so this is the total amount paid to the bank. So that means that from this amount, the principal is going to be 12 grand. That's what you borrowed to begin with. And the interest is going to be the 327 and 48 cents that were tacked on. So at the end of the 12 months, right, these two components make up the total paid back. So you can say this goes there and this goes there, right? These are like the two branches that make up the total amount that you paid back. Okay. Now, if you go and hopefully you still have a little bit of room, you grab a ruler or anything that helps you make a straight line. It could be the calculator, it could be the edge of your phone, doesn't matter. Just make a straight line, that's all I care. Okay. And we're gonna make 12 bars like this. It doesn't matter. What's that? Go ahead. Just make 12 of these. So we have 6 there already. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And along the bottom, you're going to put payment, right? Payment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 12 payments. So if we did this over 5 years, we would have 60 payments, right? And so forth. We're only going to deal with 1 year, which is 12 months. Can you please along the side here, just make sure you understand that every payment is going to be 1,027.29 cents. It doesn't change. Every bar represents that amount over the 12 months. Okay? And every single payment, you don't know this, but we're going to explore this more as we continue. Every single payment is broken down into, don't split this in half, just go a little bit over half here. There is a principal portion and an interest portion for every single payment. So let's make a staircase. So we're going to start here, then we're going to make it a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. So make a staircase so that eventually you have a small sliver like that. Okay. So every single payment has a principal portion, and we're only going to do the PI for the first four. Okay. Then it just gets too crowded. But every single payment has a principal portion of it and some of it that goes towards the interest. Who gets the interest, folks? Who gets that interest of that first payment? Where does it go? Come on, you can do this. The bank gets that, okay? The interest goes to the bank. You never see that again. It doesn't go anywhere magically. It just goes to the bank. They're like, thank you very much, and keep going every month. So every single one of these, the principals, let's make an arrow go to principal. And so what will happen is that every month, some of the money will go towards actually bringing down the 12,000 lower and lower. And the eyes here, maybe I use a different color. All of those eyes, they will go to the main interest amount. Okay, so that's how your payment works. In the background, the bank will recalculate every month. They will recalculate, and because you owe less every month, the interest portion in every single payment goes smaller and smaller. So let's say you get an extra job halfway through this loan and you make an extra 500 bucks that month. If you go to the bank and says, hey, put these 500 towards my car loan, that $500 will go straight to paying off the 12 grand, right? Like it goes straight towards the principal. None of that is interest. So if you double up payments or you bring in lump sums, you're actually going to bring this down quite a bit so that you're going to pay it off sooner, okay? So you might pay it off in 11 months as opposed to 12 months, right? And so that's the beauty of lump sum. So if you have an extra cash amount coming in, pay off your loans, okay? Are we good? Or you get some birthday money, right? Go pay it off, right? So here, I need you to be very careful in writing down these formulas. This is not on the formula sheet. This needs to go on the study sheet. Okay? And this goes towards loans. Okay? So I would say this on your study sheet, write down loan formula, see page 15, right? See page 15, and then you later on erase that and you copy it all into that study sheet. That's just my suggestion. You don't have to, but I would say put formulas from page 15 in here or something like that so you're reminded that you need to do that. Okay? So here we go. Loan is going to be the purchase price minus any down payment mentioned. So if you take the purchase price, you take the down payment, that's how much you're going to have to borrow. Okay? I'm using specific letters and numbers, so make sure you get that right. The monthly payment, I call that PMT. Okay? It's purchase minus down, like that. And you're like, isn't that the loan, Mr. Dirksen? Yes, it is. It's the same thing again. So write down loan, but sometimes I'm not going to ask you to do this. I'm just going to ask you to do it, go straight to the payment. So make sure you make a little note saying that this is the loan here. And that will be multiplied by something we call a table rate. And we're going to divide that table rate by 1,000. Always by 1,000. And this table rate, you're going to get that on page 18. Don't look just yet. We're going to do that later. But you're actually going to get that from somewhere. And what I will do here is table rate, you need to match the percentage with the years, right? You match those two, and you're going to get a number, which that's what the table rate is. You use these two pieces of information to get that table rate. So this is the formula though for payment right there. Total paid to the bank. So I call that total paid to the bank like that. That is the monthly payment, right? Times the number of years times 12. The total interest on the loan, I call that TI. And you go payment times the years times 12 minus the loan. That's the total interest paid. And then there's interest paid on the first month. So highlight first month here because that's the one people mix up. They mix up these two. This is total interest. This is first month interest. And I just call that lowercase I. And basically what you do is you take the loan, you multiply that by the interest rate, and it needs to be as a decimal. All of that divided by 12. That's lowercase I, and then there's total interest. I will say this on a note here. Hold on, will always be less than the payment. Okay, make sure that this amount, when you compute that, it's less than the monthly payment. If not, you made a mistake. Total paid for the car is obviously the down payment plus payment times the years times 12. So lots of formulas. These are all just the ones I'm giving you to make your lives a little bit easier. And make sure you transfer them over to your study sheet. Especially students mix up total interest and interest on the first month. That's the biggest mistake I see, common error. All right, let's do some calculations here. So let's go to page 16. It says you need to borrow right? You're gonna right away fixate on that. You need to borrow this much to buy a new car. Dealership offers you a 5-year loan over at 3.5%. Okay, this no taxes to be added. Sorry. No taxes to be added. Why? Because it's already telling you that you need to borrow this. So this is implying that this number has all the fees, all the taxes, everything included. So don't add taxes to this. Most financing questions will not ask you to add taxes on a test or on a quiz because it's too much already. And then the payment will be off, everything will be off, and that's too difficult to mark, really. Okay, so let's find the monthly payment here. So I'm going to write down the formulas here. So the payment is the purchase minus the down times table rate divided by 1,000. The purchase is 31,500. Nowhere do they mention a down payment. So it is just really 31,500 times, pay attention guys, where do I get this table rate from? It's on page 18. Okay, so table rate, you match the years with the percentage like that, and then you get a number. So it's 5 years, and in this case it's 3.5%. So let's go to page 18, which is actually just flipping this like that. You should see this on page 18. So interest rate is right up here. So go down to 3.5, and then it's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. This is how much you pay for every $1,000. This is the amount per 1,000. That's why we divide by 1,000. So let's copy the 1819 into this, right? So this is really what's going to give us the payment. So payment. So this is how you do this. 31,500, multiply it by 1819, then divide it by 1,000. And you get $572.99 per month. Go ahead. Okay. What's the total amount paid back to the bank? TPB, sorry. Total paid back to the bank. You take your payment, you multiply it by the years, and you multiply it by 12 because we're always dealing with monthly payments. We don't deal with semi-monthly, bi-weekly, we don't deal with that. So the payment is $572.99, then it's 5 years times 12. And when you run that through, you get 34,379.4D, right? 40. This is how much you paid back over the 5 years. Remember, you borrowed 31,500, and this is how much you paid back. Okay, so thousands of dollars more. Okay, which is the norm. What's the total interest paid? That's the total interest is payment times years times 12, which is essentially how much you paid the bank minus the loan. And let's just go up back here that this is actually the loan right here in front of, when you find your monthly payment, that number here, after taking the down payment, that's the loan here. So that's what we're using here. So it's 572.99 times 5 times 12 minus 31,500. So I'm going to actually type that in all at once. And you have paid $2,879.40 interest. That's why you should save up now before you buy a car, because the more you pay off right off the bat, the better, right? Less interest you pay. So basically, this is the finance charge. Let's put that down here as well, because those words are used interchangeably. The interest, finance charge, same thing. Okay. So based on what I just did, I want you to try example 2 and notice that we're talking about the same car as in example 1. See if you can do those 3 questions there, A, B, and C, based on what I've just done. So let's take 7 minutes or so till 1:30. So in this case, the monthly payment, and this is mainly to compare, so pay attention to the comparisons I'm going to make with the first example, okay? So the monthly payment is still the same, the loan amount, I should say. But in this case, it's a 3-year loan, so your table rate, instead of 1819, it's going to be 2930, right? So that's what goes in here. And then if you calculate that, you get 922.95, right? And so this is a 3-year payment versus how much did you pay up in the first one? 572.99. So put that right next to it. So what happened to the payment? It went up, right? Because you're paying it off faster, right? But that's not to be confused with if you're actually paying more. You're actually going to be paying less overall. Watch this, and you probably saw that already. Total amount paid to the bank. You just take our payment and we multiply that by 3 years instead of 5, okay, and that times 12, right? Payment times years times 12, you get 33,226.20. This is 3 years versus how much did you pay with a 5-year? 34,379.40, right? This is the 5-year. So you paid less overall if you paid it off faster. Does that make sense that that would be the case? If you pay it back to me faster, I'm going to charge you less of a finance charge, right? That's how banks make money, folks. They take your savings and they give it to somebody else, right? And then they make money with the interest. That's really, they're handling your money. That's really what they're doing. It's a good business model, right? What's the total interest paid? TI. In this case, it's 922.95 times 3 times 12, right? That's the formula. Minus the loan, which is 31,500. Show your work, okay? Don't just come up with a magic number. It's going to bite you later. When you review, it's going to bite you, okay? So this is really 33,226.20. Okay, that is how much you paid back, and you subtract how much you started with, and that is really 1,726.20 cents. This is 3 years versus we paid 2,879.20 cents at a 5-year. Okay, so the total interest went down, the total paid went down, but what happened to the payment? It went up because you're paying it off faster, right? So you need to understand how one would work with the other in comparison if I were to ask you that. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, the next one is going to be quite long, guys. Okay, so you got to hang in there because the reason why I just wanted one long example is because it kind of walks you through everything you can possibly encounter. Well, almost everything. So let's go to page 17. Okay, follow along, guys. You're buying a Subaru at a dealership. It's this much before taxes. I should note that. There's a down payment of $1,800, and the rate is 6.75 over 5 years. So I'm highlighting all the important pieces that I need to know. And a little note here, we subtract the down payment after taxes. It's not like a trade-in where it has to happen before taxes, okay? So total cost including taxes. So it's basically, you can call this a used dealer, okay? So it's basically 13,899 times 1.12. That's how much it's going to cost you including taxes. And so that's 15,566.88. That's the cost of the car after tax. What's the loan required? Loan is really the price of the car minus the down payment, which ends up being 13,766.88. This is what we're gonna get financed, to be financed, right? This is what you're gonna make payments on. Not the 15,000, but it's the 13,000 you're gonna make payments on. Let's find the payments for this. And that's just 13. I will do this because these are notes. Let's say they gave us the price of the car and they mentioned the down payment. I would like you to have it like this and then multiply it by a table rate divided by 1,000. So again, we're going to match 6.75% with 5 years. There's that rate that we need to find. So I'm going to go to page 18 quickly. 6.75 is right here. You match that over with 5 years, and there's 19.69. So this is 19.69. I wanna get this number separately, which you already know what it is in this case, but I will not always break it down like that for you. So it's important for you to show this number because we're gonna need that when calculating interest. So payment, we're going to go 13,766.88 times 19.69 divided by 1,000, and we get 271.07. The 9 bumps that 6 to a 7. 271.07. And I'm going to box this in or circle it because that's what I want. This is per month. Okay. Now I want the total amount paid for the vehicle, total amount paid for the vehicle, for the car, by the end of the 5 years. So total paid for the car, that's the formula you want, which is 271.07 times, it's over 5 years, and obviously it's 12 months, plus, oh, I think I give the down payment first in the formula. Will that throw you off if I put the down payment afterwards? I think you'll be fine, but yeah, I'll just put the down payment up here. Okay. So it's multiplying all of this, total paid to the bank, plus the down payment. That's what's gonna, right? This is the down. So this gives me 271.07 times 5 times 12. That's 16,264.20 plus the 1,800, which is going to give me 18,064. This is what I'm after. Total paid for the car. The bank doesn't really get the down payment. It's put towards the car. The bank just gives you the rest to be able to pay it all to the owner. Okay. How much money in interest alone was paid? Asking for TI, total interest. TI, and I always go back to the original. Payment times the years times 12 minus the loan. And what is your loan? The loan is 13,766, right? The loan you always get from subtracting the down payment off of the amount of the car. That is your loan. So if you don't mind, I will do this. Right? I'll put that in there so you can tell where you got that number from. And so this is 16,264.20 because I already did this up here. So I'm just using that minus 13,766.88. So the total interest is 2497.32. Dollar sign. There it is. And watch this. I highlighter again or underline. How much interest was paid on the first month's payment? Interest on the first month's payment. They're asking for lowercase I. So I'm going to start way over here. Interest. The formula calls for the loan, which is again 13,766.88 times. I will just show you because I need you to make sure you understand that. Some students use the table rate, but it says the interest rate as a decimal, not the table rate, interest rate. So where is the interest rate? It's way up here. It's 6.75. So I'm going to use arrow all the way from the top all the way down to this problem. Because I see a lot of people using the, in this case, the 1969, they use this one because, hey, it's a rate. It's like, no, interest rate, not table rate. So basically what you do is you go 6.75 in this case, divided by 100, and that's what you use, 0.0675. All of that divided by 12. So let's try that. 13,766.88 times 0.0675 divided by 12, and that is 77.44. Always less than, less than payment. And I'm going to scratch the sticker price here. You can just cross it off. We talked about sticker price a lot. I'd rather use that space for something else. If this is my payment, just make a bar that looks sideways like that. If the whole thing is what our payment is, which is in this case 271.07, you just figured out that $77 of that, 77.44, is interest. And so this is the principal here. How would I get this number? I take 271.07 minus the interest. And so that's the principal portion of the payment for that first month. 271.07 minus 77.44. And that is 193.63. So in a sense, the principal and the interest always make up the payment. This is one of the small bars that every month it changes, okay? First month only. Okay. We have 15 minutes left, so let's flip over and I'll tell you which one I want you to do. Go to page 20. Work on pages 20 and 21. And I will tell you this because this is worded in a weird way. Pay close attention, make this addition. This here is a down payment. So you need to take this away from the 27,500. Okay? So maybe purchase, what this should really say is Mr. and Mrs. Smith are purchasing a car for, so and need to borrow should be scratched out. It just says I'm purchasing a car for 27,500 and just get rid of from their bank. So they're just purchasing a car for 27,500 and they have an offer to buy it over 4 years at 4.25%. They saved up this much. Okay. So try this before you go, okay? Yeah, I'll give you the answers